If you're looking for a smartwatch that does everything encompassingly well, 100% the Pixel Watch is the Apple Watch of Android that I have been wanting for years. Hello everybody, welcome to a beautifully dreary day this Halloween 2022. I hope that your day is very spooky, as mine I'm sure will be. I am off today, so it's less spooky. Welcome to another video. This is your host, Dread Pirate Maki. Dread Pirate Spooky Maki. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite things in tech right now, the Google Pixel Watch. There are top 4 things I've heard about the Pixel Watch that I want to start this video off with. Let me read them off to you. Things I've heard about the Pixel Watch. Number 1 is the magnet charger is too weak. Literally saw a creator put this in their video. I don't remember whose it was, or I would actually tag it so you could go watch it and, determine for yourself. I have heard the battery is bad. I have heard the bezel is too big, and I have heard that there's not enough bands. That one's mostly from Twitter. These are all very important things. If you've never touched a Pixel Watch, and if you're not going to own one, and if you need to virtue signal your way into being a smart, knowledgeable tech person. So I'm not going to talk about any of those things. What I am going to talk about is my actual experience using the Pixel Watch in silver, because I'm a fancy bitch and I got the silver one. So far, the Pixel Watch for me has been a solid 7 out of 10. Now you might say, aye, 7 out of 10, that doesn't sound very good. And I might say, it's over half, so I don't know what else you want from me. But yes, it's not a full 10 out of 10 probably. In my opinion, I'm going to give #Maki opinion the moist meter for me, as it were. I am giving this watch solid 10 out of 10, and I'm going to explain the difference. So let's start off with what I really liked about the watch. The watch is light. It doesn't stick to my wrist like my Fossil watch did or like the Galaxy watch does. Part of that's the band, but we're actually going to talk about that too, is the band that comes with the watch is incredible, and I love it. It's made of stainless steel. It's polished. I really like the way it looks. Even though it's made of stainless steel, it is very light, like I was saying, and I often forget that it's on my wrist, to the point where I'm supposed to charge it before I leave for work, and I look down at my wrist and I realize I'm still wearing it, which has never been a problem because the charging speed is actually really good. So we'll talk about that more later. But all I have to say, it's been a pleasure to wear. As far as specs go and full, power and just grit, yeah, it's gonna fall behind the Apple Watch Ultra and the Galaxy Watch 4 or 5. I have the 4 Classic. I have not used the 5, but I know the 5 is a step up. It's polished stainless steel. I know glossy is not the thing, shiny is not the thing. People love matte finish, people love everything, and yes, I agree, it's very smooth, but I am definitely a sucker for polished metals. I don't know what it is, I just love it. I think it's really fancy, and this is the polished silver version, which I love, and I have loved every second with it. So it's very light. It looks amazing. I have actually named mine Sand Dollar.
Look at that. Fits right in with the raindrops. Smooth AF. I know some people don't like the bezel, but look at that light. Like, how can you hate this? I don't know. Like, it's so light too. Like, I can't even, I feel my ring more than I feel this. It's crazy to me.
Charging speeds are very good. I can get usually from 40 to 60% to 90 to 100% in a matter of about 20 minutes, which is, that's, I toss it on the charger before I get in the shower, and by the time I'm out, it's at 100% already. So the battery has not been an issue for me, but again, we'll talk more in depth about that later. The sounds on this, I actually made a short playing this, but the sounds are incredibly satisfying to listen to.
Whoever was in charge of the Pixel Watch Unlock sound needs a raise, because these sounds are highly, highly satisfying coming from a watch, especially a watch speaker. It's very, very small.
The unlock sound, the charging sound, even the ringer.
Whew, you hear that? The designer for these sounds needs to come to Pixel as well. That's such a good sound effect for volume.
Stuff like that is very clicky, very right up next to the camera, sort of an ASMR vibe, but not gross. And I've actually kept the sound on for most of the time. I have not turned it off. I do wish it mirrored my phone. That is one thing that I would improve about this watch. The notifications mirror the watch very well. The notification sounds, for the most part, unless it's a custom sound like Snapchat, mirror the watch. So that's really cool, and it's like pitched up just a little bit, so obviously you can tell which one it's coming from. I do wish that the do not disturb and the vibrate options would mirror themselves. In this case, they don't. That's a little bit annoying, but probably something that they will hear out and come out with a software update. Now, speaking of putting the watch on vibrate, the haptic motor in this is excellent. I have heard people complain that it's not strong enough, but it's a tiny little watch. It's the size of a quarter. I don't know what else you want from it. It feels very, very good to me. I think it's a pleasure to wear, like I was saying before. Feels really good. It is deeply integrated with the crown, with the buttons, with tapping, with ringing, with stuff like that. It works amazing, and it's what I've been looking for in a watch that's not an Apple Watch for a very, very long time. Design, integration, haptics, touch feedback, that's something that Apple has done very, very well for a long time that Android has always passed over for some reason. Haptic motors, like specific like rings with the beat of the ringtone, for example, stuff like that. Just little attention to detail is not something that Android has really ever been good at. It's getting much, much better with Pixels specifically, and I believe with Samsung too. I just don't have as much experience with Samsung. I know it has very good haptic motors. I just prefer the Pixel still. It's much tighter and much stronger. It feels more magnetic than vibraty, if that makes sense. The watch feels the same. Hopefully in the second version, they will one-up it, make it a little stronger, but I'm also hoping they make it bigger. That leads me to my next point is, one of the things I wish they would have done differently is made at least a bigger version and a smaller version, or made this one slightly bigger. Now, I understand why they did it, because traditionally, probably from like a stats perspective, from a manufacturing perspective, women are going to lean towards watches more than men. Probably. If it's not like a big burly kind of watch, like an Apple Watch Ultra or like a Galaxy Watch 5, probably it's going to be female customers leaning towards that more. And I think that's why they made this one smaller, because they were like, let's just condense it all. We're going to do the best we can with the most likely customer base. And probably next year they're going to up it into something larger as well, because that's how business works. I mean, it's how Tesla works. It's how Pixel has worked in the past. You got to sell to the most likely market, get them sold, and then you can reach out with more investors, with more money, with more opportunity, and one up that product into something bigger and better. So I think, if I were to guess, that's probably what's going to be happening with this. So I'm not 100%, I'm not totally upset. I mean, it could be a little bit larger. I also do have very large wrists. But I mean, it's not bad at all. I mean, if it was, instead of this size, if it was like this size, I would not be mad at that at all. It would be really happy. Yeah, I'm not upset by that at all. The next piece, since we're on something negative right now, is let's talk about the battery. The battery does not last all day and all night, in my experience. If anything, it's dying. Like, if I sleep in it at night and then leave for work and come back at like 9 p.m., it's at like 5%. So it barely lasts. But to compensate for that, just like the original Pixel, just like the Pixel 2, just like the Pixel 3, all of these other devices, I'm not upset at a shorter battery life for whatever reason. If it's for size, if it's for thinness, if it's for design, whatever it is, I'm not upset by that being the decision that was made if the charging speeds can compensate for it. I'm okay with that. If my phone has a slightly smaller battery, but I can charge it from 60 to 100% in 15 minutes, I'm not upset. I'll just stick it on a charger when I'm in the bathroom or something. I don't know. That's how this watch is. So the battery is not as long as I wish it was. My Fossil watch, my Fossil Gen 6, which has been my favorite up to this point, neither of them are LTE. That one would get me a solid, by the time I was done with my second day with the watch, including sleeping with it, it would be at like 12% by the end of the day as I was driving home. So it'd have like everything disabled and it was on low battery mode and all that stuff. So I usually charge it every day anyway. That's the only thing. I'm charging my devices every day anyway. Why would I want it to last 2 days if I'm going to charge it every night? That's how I use it. That might not be how everybody uses it, but that's what I've found.
It's such a spooky Halloween night. I love it.
The nice thing about being an Android user or Pixel reviewer, Pixel watch, so I don't have to worry as much about people breaking into my car to steal my stuff. If it's not Apple, nobody cares about it. So, does this hat make me look like I'm in a Christmas movie?
Actually, I kind of like it. I'm not gonna lie.
So on the list of things that I wish Google would do with the Pixel Watch 2, whether that's next year or the year after, I'm not sure if they'll do an every year, because there's really no reason to do an every year refresh on a watch. I'm okay with an every 2 years. That seems more reasonable. Same with tablets. The technology just doesn't change that much anymore. If there's a list, the three main things I wish Google would do with the Pixel Watch 2 is larger screen, longer battery life, and a fingerprint scanner. So almost every device now has an in-display fingerprint scanner. Imagine if you could pull out your watch and instead of having to do the little unlock or whatever, unlocked right there. How cool would that be? So if we really want to push the narrative forward and push technology forward and stand out among the rest, if you're listening, Google, it would be amazing to see an in-display fingerprint scanner on a watch. Might be a little bit unnecessary, but I think that would be really cool, especially if it's like, if you want to integrate it with like emergency features or, location features, like please verify who you are before tracking this person, that kind of thing. I think that would be awesome. Unlocking a Chromebook, unlocking a Windows computer, using the fingerprint for it instead. I think that would be awesome. Kind of a dream, but if you're looking for advice, that's the one thing I have to give. So let's talk about the watch as compared to other watches I have used. Like I've previously said, my favorite watch is the Fossil Gen 6. I really like I'm a sucker for polished metal and for very clean UI, which is why I've never really liked Samsung, because they tend to be very cluttered. It's the same reason I didn't prefer the Galaxy Watch. It's very cluttered and it's very big and sticky and it sticks to my arm all the time and it feels like it's flopping around. Like either it's too tight or it's too loose and it never sits here, it sits here. So it's like sag. I don't know. That's how it felt for me. Maybe I have weird wrists. But that one's been my favorite. I also have a Fitbit Sense, which I've worn all summer for workouts and stuff. And I have the Apple Watch Series 7 and I have the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. So as far as the comparison with those, I'm still going to say, unless you are a specific Samsung person or their kind of, the demographic they're selling to, and you want that watch technically is better with specs. Battery's larger, the screen is larger. The fitness tracking and the processor, as far as like talking to Google Assistant and getting things done, voice typing, that kind of thing, destroyed by the Pixel Watch. Pixel Watch is incredible at this. Same as the phone. Think like the same, like you can speak as fast as you want and Google Assistant still picks it up and punctuates the whole thing. Same deal. So it's very, very easy to text back. It's very, very easy to ask for things, for it to be accurate when you're asking for directions, stuff like that. One note, I do wish that Signal and Telegram and WhatsApp would include the ability to record a voice message on the watch, which would be amazing because I do voice messages with my friends all the time. And instead of, I see a reply and I can listen to it, but I can't re-record it. I have to pick up my phone, especially if I'm like in the car because I drive an hour to work, two hours a day. So it'd be so much easier to record from right here instead of like trying to hold it up and drop it. I'm always safe, I promise. So notes for Telegram, Signal, and WhatsApp, I would love to see that. If you're looking for a smartwatch that does everything encompassingly well, 100% the Pixel Watch is the Apple Watch of Android that I have been wanting for years. If you're looking for brute force and power, I would buy the Galaxy Watch. As far as the fitness tracking, it's actually going to be the same either way. In my testing through the summer with Fitbit anyway, I would routinely wear two watches. I'd wear a Fitbit and a Fossil, and I'd wear a Fossil and an Apple Watch, and an Apple Watch and Galaxy Watch, and then I would crisscross all of them. And I mean, unless you're doing like hardcore marathons or you're like a professional athlete, it's really not going to make a whole lot of difference. It's going to be as accurate as you need to be, as long as you're tracking your food intake and everything as well. So the fitness actually doesn't have to be a part of your decision unless you prefer one over the other. Again, I tend to prefer Google Fit and Fitbit because they are minimal and there's not a lot going on besides what I need. I just want to see what I need. I want to see my information. I want to see it clearly, and I don't want to have to dig around for it and try to tell it what to do, if that makes sense. And Google and Fitbit are really good about that. Samsung Health does have more features, but in my time using Samsung Health, I never used those features anyway, and I ended up just being annoyed because there are like six tabs on the bottom for like community and for like try this recipe, and for it's like I don't need all those. I just want to see my activity, and I'd be like, which one does that? And it would be either Fitbit or Google. So there you go. So all in all, it's an excellent watch. I have really enjoyed using it. Hopefully this review is helpful to you guys as well. Let me know if there are any questions you have that I may have missed in this. I tried to be as thorough as I could, but again, this is one of my earlier reviews, official reviews, so I may have missed things. Sub if you don't mind, that helps me out. Think about becoming a member if you don't mind. It starts at $1 and you get super cool emotes, and then you get other stuff too. And yeah, I appreciate everybody watching. Thank you again for all the love and the support, and I'll see you guys soon on the Pixel 7 Pro review. Spooky Maki.